Yes, welcome to video lesson 3, and this is module 3. Now, in the previous lesson we touched on invoices, and in this lesson I want to point out something that I think it's very important. So we're going to take a step back into estimates. I want to point out a number of things that I think are very important for you to understand, and then from there we're going to move forward. So let's go back again to estimates, and let me point out a number of things. So we go to estimates. Now, in this lesson, we're going to talk about markup. Okay, this column right here, and I'm going to show you how to use different templates of estimates. Then I'm going to point out something on class, how you use class and how it works. Then I'm going to show you how to override any price or any estimates, any change or price of the estimate that you created before. Let's say, for instance, you have a new client, okay, and for a job like CCTV camera installation, let's say it costs like 30,000, and then you have your first client, and because this is the first client, you want to have this client pay maybe something like 25,000 just to welcome the client. Okay, the standard price or the standard set estimated cost for a CCTV camera is 30,000, and here you are, you have a new client and you want to give that client a welcome price, a very favorable price like 25,000. I want to show you how you can override the standard job cost, okay, and give a fair price to this customer as a way of welcoming the customer. So we're going to touch on those issues. I'm going to show you how to override standard job cost. I want to show you how to handle markup. I'm going to show you how to handle classes, how to activate and deactivate classes. I'll even explain what classes are, and then from there we're going to move forward. So let's get started. Let's say we want to create this invoice, sorry, these estimates, and let's pick a customer here. Let's say we want to invoice we want to create estimate for Kelly Limo. Okay, so I'm gonna pick the customer, and then here we are. So let's say this is first of all, let's see, this customer security installation, a Wi-Fi Wi-Fi installation. Let's say we are doing network installation for this customer, right? So let's do it. So I'm gonna come here, I'll click right here, and I will pick network installation, right? So here we are. So let's say network installation takes 2 days, and in this case we are working 8 hours per day, so that's going to be around 16 hours. So let's say it takes 20 hours, right? So we enter the quantity right there, 20 hours to accomplish that job. So what the system will do is it will take 20 hours plus our, or rather multiply that with our rate at 2,000 per hour, and then go to recalculate how much this client will be able to pay, and that is 40,000, right? Okay, so that is 40,000. Now I want you to assume that Kelly is it's a new customer, okay, and so because, just a minute. All right, so because it's a new customer, we want to give, just a minute. All right. First of all, we're gonna have to change this estimate template so that I can point out what I want to point out. So what you see is the quantity. We mentioned this, that this stands for the amount of hours it's gonna take to accomplish this job. We charge 2,000 per hour, and so the total cost is going to be 20 hours times 2,000, which is basically 40,000. Now this template, this estimate template, is custom estimate. Okay, and you can click here and pick another template. Let's say this is sorry, let's pick quote. Okay, which is basically a quotation. So you notice that there are changes here. You have the quantity and you have the total price. You cannot see the amount, you cannot see the rate here. Okay, so the rate is gone, it's not shown here. What you have here is the quantity, and then you have the total amount. So there are different templates here. Let's pick a template for a retail estimate. And this is a retail estimate, and what you're seeing here is the quantity, and then the cost, and then the class, and then the total amount. So different templates will show different columns depending on which template you pick. So this is a real retail estimate. We have a quote, okay, which will just show you the quantity, the class, and the total. We have custom estimates, and this is custom estimate. Now let's assume that Kelly is a new client, right? And being a new client, want to give him a much favorable price, just a welcome price. So rather than charge Kelly 2,000 per hour, we want to charge Kelly, let's say 15,000 per hour, as sorry, 1,500 per hour. So that's a welcome price. Currently, this is our networking. The standard estimation cost is at a rate of 2,000 per hour, but this is a new client, so we want to make some adjustment for temporal, that is temporal adjustment for this client. So to do that, I'm gonna come here and I'm going to pick retail estimate. Retail estimate allows us to make those changes. You notice what we have here is cost, and then quantity, and then class, and then the amount, or the total cost for this job. So I can come here and override this, and I can give this client 1,500, and then there you go. You are changing your standard price for an item. Did you know that QuickBooks helps you set up? I just click OK. And now what I have done is I have temporarily given a favorable price to this customer. I have overwritten the original standard charges per hour for this given job. So I'm now charging this customer 1,500 per hour. So the total cost is going to be 30,000. Now that does not change the original price or the original charges per hour for this specific job. It just temporarily gives this specific customer a very favorable price, but it doesn't change the original charges per hour for this given job. So that is how you can override and give a temporal price change for a given customer, right? So you change it from here, but remember you have to be using the retail estimate. Okay, so that's how you override the standard charges per given job. Now on the description here, let's give it a description. Let's say this is the labor. Okay, so we're going to enter labor. Okay, and labor is not taxable, right? So I'm gonna come right here, because this is labor, it's not taxable. So I'm gonna come right here and click right there, and then pick non-taxable sales, because this is labor, so we're not going to charge taxes for the labor. So I'm gonna pick non-taxable. Now, let's say that this customer right here, we're gonna need to buy some of, all right, just a minute. All right, so let's say they will need to buy some just a minute here. All right, let's say they will need to buy some gadgets, or rather some components for this job to be done, things like switches, things like cables. So in this case, we want to add a product here. This is a service. We want to add a product or inventory. Okay, and this would be things like networking cable, things like jack, switches, all those components that are associated to this job. So what we need to do now is that we want to include that one down right here. So I'm going to click right here, and we're going to add a new inventory. So click new, and this time round this is an inventory part. We don't have those inventories, so we're gonna add them. Okay, just a minute, hold on. Just hold on for a minute. Seem to have a few problem in my system. Just hold on for a minute. Let's fix this. All right. All right. So let's get back there again. Let's load QuickBooks. Sorry for that. Seems like my system has had some issues, but let's get back on track. Give it some time. All right, here we are. Okay, so I don't have password in my system, so I'm gonna click OK. I didn't have password for my admin user account, so we give some time for QuickBooks to load. All right, here we are. I'll click not this one, and then I'm going to maximize this window. Okay, I'll close this one. I'll maximize this window, and here we are. So let's get back on track again. We were creating estimates, and I wanted to show you different templates for our estimates. So let's load estimates, click estimates. So I wanted to show you different templates that you can use when you are creating estimates. I will also be showing you how to override a given standard charge for a given job, and then we're going to talk about class. I'll show you how class works, and then you're also going to learn how to include in your estimates inventory part. Currently, what we've been doing and what we've been using is a service inventory, whereby we provide a specific service for a given client. So I'm going to show you how to include inventory part in your estimate. So let's get started. Before the system develop some issues, I had pointed out that when you come to estimates, you can pick different estimate templates here. Sorry, you can pick a quote, like a quotation, And this is how your estimate template to look like. You're going to have quantity, you're going to have class, you're going to have total. When you pick a quotation here, what you will miss here is the rate. Okay, this no rate, and the assumption here is QuickBooks will assume that this is a quotation, or rather an estimate for an inventory part, not a service part. And so if you are estimating for an inventory part, then you don't have rate. All you have is the cost of that product, or rather the cost of that inventory part. So that's what the template for the estimate template for quotation assumes. So you have quantity, class, total, and then tax. Now you can also pick an estimate for a proposal, and this is how it will look like. And you just come right here in between here, these headers, and adjust this. You can adjust these columns. So you're gonna have estimated hours or quantity, and you're gonna have rate, how much you charge per hour, and you're gonna have the total amount. You're gonna have the markup, the class, and the total. Okay, what you notice is this template is quite close, almost the same as custom estimate. Say the same thing, only that we don't have estimated hours to quantity. What we do have here is just quantity, then the rate, the amount, the markup, the class, and all that. So it depends. You can decide which one you want to choose. If you purely creating a quotation for products or inventory part, then you can work with this one. Just show you the quantity, class, and total. If you are creating estimate for a given job, then you can either pick custom estimates, which is what you've been using, or you can pick proposal, right? And you can also pick retail estimate. Though this one may not serve you well because you're not going to have rate here. Okay, so depending on what you are estimating, whether it's a service or a part, inventory part, then you pick the right template. But what you notice is almost all these templates can work for either inventory, or they can work for a service, or for a job estimate. So it all depends on you and what estimates you want, whether you are estimating for a given job or whether you're estimating for a product. So those are different templates for estimates. Now, so let's now move ahead and carry out our estimates. You come here. We are creating estimate for Kelly, and the job right here, this is a service we are offering Kelly, and that is network installation. So I'm going to pick network installation, and the description here is labor. Okay, we're creating estimate for the labor for that job. Now the standard charges for this kind of a job is 2,000 per hour, and it's gonna take around 2 days, so it's gonna be 20 hours. And when you click right here, it will recalculate 20 hours times 2,000 per hour, and that becomes 40,000. Now let's assume that this is a new client, and so rather than charge him 2,000 per hour, we're gonna give him a favorable price, just a welcome price. And so we want to override this and temporarily give him a different price. So we're going to charge 1,500 per hour. So click right there and make a temporal change on that price. And there you are. You get this message, just click OK. So what happens is this does not change the original standard charges per hour for a networking job. It basically creates a temporal estimate that doesn't change the original one for this specific client. So now we will be charging this new client 30 1,000 for the entire job, just to welcome the client. And this is for labor, and because labor is not taxable, so you want to come here on taxes, click right there and pick non-taxable. Now this client is going to have to buy some of the key components like cables, switches, and all that. So we're gonna add an inventory part right here. So to do that, I will click right here, actually right below here. I'm going to skip this line. It's normally left for indication of taxes, so that something is taxable or non-taxable. So I'm gonna skip this. Notice I'm skipping this. I'm coming down here. So click right there. We don't have inventory part so far. What we do have is just these ones like laptops. So I want to create a new inventory part. So go to new and I'll click inventory, and we're going to add a key component for this job, like let's say network switch, and okay, so let's set the price. Cost, we buy it at 500 and we sell it at 1,000. Okay, so the cost of this inventory part, how much does it cost? This is on average. Let's say on average a network switch will cost 500, and then when we sell this product to customers, we sell it at 1,000, right? And then what you notice is we have cost of goods sold. That's the account that is going to be impacted by this price here. So that one's in order. And then on the sale price, the associated account, this is an income. So I'm gonna click there and pick income, right? So we have it set up. This is the cost of goods sold account, and this is the sales income account. Now we have a set account. It's inventory account. That's the one that's being affected right there. Reorder point. Currently we don't have any. We don't have even quantity at hand, and so we can leave these ones as they are. Let's see, manufacturer's part number. If you want to fill out this one, you can enter the manufacturer's part number. You can make some description here if you want to make some description. You can add some description here if you want to add some description. So we are, let's see, all right, let's just add a quantity on hand. Let's say we have 10 switches, right? And so what the system will do is sorry, I meant 10 switches. It's gonna take these 10 switches, which we are assuming we buy, times the cost of a single switch, then it's gonna enter the total value here, which will be, just a minute, yeah, which will be 5,000, right? And then you click OK. All right, now notice that it's indicating the cost of this switch is 1,000. That's the selling price. Okay, now let's add one more. I'm gonna come down here, actually down here, and let's add one more. Let's go to new, one more inventory part. We go to inventory part, and this is network cables. Network cables, what's the price? Let's say 62,000, right? And the selling price, let's say it's that 500. All right. Cost of goods sold is the affected account on the cost, and on this shows its income. All right. The asset account, it's inventory asset. How many cables are we buying? Let's say we're buying let's say 5. All right. And so it's gonna be 5 times 2,000, then you get 10,000, and then you click OK, and there you are. So now what we're doing here is we are charging for labor, and we are also charging for this network installation components. These are materials, or these are key components required to perform this kind of a job. And because these are products, then they are taxable. So you're gonna make sure here this one is taxable, and this one down here is taxable. Labor is not taxable, that's why we are picking non-taxable. And to be able to see the cost and the cost, now we don't need this one right now because this is not labor, so it's not like we have charging per hour. So we're gonna leave this one blank. We're going to use this one if we want to specify the number of switches, right? So if we are going to be, for this job, if we need a single switch and a single cable, then we leave this one empty. But let's say we want 3 switches, so I'm going to enter 3, right? For this job, cables, we're going to need 2, right? And so what we're going to have is 3 times the cost of a single switch, and then you have the total amount there, same as cables times the cost of a single cable, and then you have the total cost there. So when you create an estimate, first of all, you can pick the template that you want, okay? And even if you pick, let's say, a quote, when you pick a quote, it can still work. It's only that you not be able to see the rate per hour. If you pick custom estimates, it can still work. Even though you will see the product here and the quantity, and then the cost of this product will be indicated here as if it's rate, right? But it will still work. If you pick retail estimate, it still works, only that you're not going to see rate, you just see the quantity and then the cost and all that. So depending on which one you choose to work with, all of them can still work. Now, so now we have the labor and we have the components. We created estimate for the labor and for the network installation components. Now, assuming again this is a new client, and so we're going to give this client a preferential treatment. Being a new client, we're going to charge him a little bit lower for the network switch. So let's say we're going to charge him 800, okay? And for this one, we want to charge him let's say how much, 3,200. So what we're doing here is we are overriding the original price of this inventory, but it doesn't mean that we are changing them. We're just temporarily overriding the original price and giving this client a favorable price. So you can always override the original price of a given job or of a given product when you create an estimate and give your customer a preferential treatment if you want to. So that done, what you see here is tax and then the total cost. Then here we can pick a message from here. Please remit and sign this quotation. If you want us to proceed the jobs, you can pick that one. And that's it. We click save and new. And that is how you can add a new inventory part in your estimates. That's how you can use different templates for your estimates, and that's how you can override a given price temporarily to give a preferential treatment to your new customers. So I'm going to click save and close, and then we'll come back here again and I'll show you how to use class, this column right here, which we have been ignoring in the past because I wanted to show you later on. So I'm going to show you how you use class and how it applies to your company operations depending on what you're using QuickBooks to do, whether you're service based or whether you're product based. So click save and close, and then notice this, it's always reminding us that you have a class here, telling us one or more items have not been assigned a class. Save anyway or cancel and return to class. So we've been clicking save anyway. So when you come back here again, I'm going to show you how to handle this one. I'm going to explain what it does and why you need to use it in your business operations. So click save anyway. You hear that sound? We're done. So now let's go back again. I'm going to show you how class works. So go back to estimate. This time around, we want to, let's pick a customer here. Let's say this time around we are working with why not create a new customer? Okay, customer that does not exist. So I'm gonna go to new, and I want to create a new customer. Let's call this customer let's call this new customer Michael or Mike. All right, Mike. Let's call him Mike Moses, right? Mike Moses Peter. It's customer name. Mike Moses Peter. Opening balance. It's a new customer. There's no opening balance. We've not had any transaction with this customer. The company name, I'm assuming this is an individual client, so they don't have a company. So I'm gonna leave that one. Is a Mr. And first name, this is Mike. Middle name, this is M for Moses. Last name, this is Peter. All right. Address, I'll just click right here, and then let's enter PO Box. PO Box 235. Let's enter city. So it's gonna be Kitale, or we can have Mombasa. All right, and country, this is Kenya. All right, let's see. Okay, Kenya, and then I'll click OK. There you are. Let's add some more information here. Phone number, it's 0789635281. Email, it's going to be mike@gmail.com. mike@gmail.com. Ship, the same, the billing address, the shipping address, the same. I'm gonna ship the same client. So just copy this and put it on the other side. So just click copy, and I'm okay with this information. Just click OK, And there we are. So we have a new client that we didn't have before. Notice that we didn't fill out the company name. If I mentioned before that when it comes to businesses, you can have B2C, whereby your business deals with consumer direct, that's B2C, or you can have B2B, whereby your business deals with another business. That means your customers are also people owning their own business. Such a case, you enter their company names here. But if you're dealing directly with the consumer, then they don't have companies, so you can just leave this one empty or blank, right? So click OK, and we have the new customer here. Now, for this customer, we are going to be doing, or we're going to serve this customer, and we're going to do a remodeling job. Okay, let's assume that job tech also handles house remodeling. Apart from tech, we can also handle, or we also do some construction job. So we're gonna need to assign this customer a job, and that job is not already in our system, so we're going to create a new job. I showed you how to do that, so let's do it. You come here and you click right there, and you enter colons, and then you press enter, and you'll be prompted to assign, I'll click OK. So you enter colons, so I'm going to enter colons right there. And when you enter colons, when you press enter on your keyboard, you'll be prompted to assign this customer a new job. So press enter, and then you cannot record. Okay, something didn't go right. Let's see. Colons, press enter. Okay, something didn't go right. So I'm gonna delete that. Okay, then I'll click here, right here, and I want to pick that client. This is the client, and then I'm going to enter colons. I'll press enter. You cannot record a blank transaction. All right, okay, no problem. You can just close this one. You have recorded new transaction. Do you want to record? You have not recorded. Say no. And let's go to the customer and assign them a job. So go to the customer. I will click the new customer. Where is it? Here is the new customer, and then I'll just come right here and let's assign him a job. Add a job. We're going to be doing house remodeling for Mike, so I'll click OK right here, and then let's assign him a job. Let's say kitchen remodeling. Okay, that's a job. The rest is okay, so just click OK. There you are. So we're going to close this, and then let's now create an estimate. So we go to estimate, and we click right here, and we pick the job. Remember, we said when you're creating estimate, always pick the job. Don't pick the client. If you do pick the client, then when you're running your report for the kind of job you've done for that client line report, system will call that job other, and you'll not be able to know what kind of a job is it that you did for that client. So when you're creating estimates, you pick the job, you don't pick the client, so that in the report the system will be able to show you the different jobs. Now notice there's a mistake here. Kitchen remodeling, we need to, this is not how you spell kitchen. So when I click, I want to cancel this. Let's go back and fix that. Customer, click the job, Actually double click it or click OK. This is a kitchen remodeling. Yeah, kitchen remodeling. Then you click OK, and then I'll close right here. So let's go now back and create estimate. Click estimates, click right here, and then pick the job, kitchen remodeling. Where are you? This is it. So click to show the customer and the job. Now I want to show you in this estimate, the pointer is to show you how class works. Okay, now let me explain. I pointed out this before, that in QuickBooks, let's say you're running a business that has different locations within the same town, right? Or different departments within the same business, and you want to categorize and be able to see reports for every single department, how that department is doing. In such a case, you can create what you call a class, and the class will be able to track how each department is performing. For instance, in job tech, we do IT and we also do construction. And so if I want to be able to track how the IT department within my business is doing, then I can create inventories, or whether that's service inventory or product inventory or other service inventory or inventory part, and I can group all of those or classify all of those. If they are IT associated jobs, I can classify all of those in a class called IT. Okay, whether it's networking, or whether I'm doing CCTV installation, or whether I am installing softwares, all those kind of customer jobs, I can put them in one class called IT. And then for construction jobs like kitchen remodeling, new constructions, or any job associated with construction, I can classify them and put all those kind of jobs in a class called construction. That way I can track how the department for IT is doing in terms of sales and other reports, and I can track how the construction department is doing in terms of the income generated by that department and other kind of reports. So basically this is one business, okay, company called JobTech, but it has different departments. There's a department for IT, there's a department for construction. I want to be able to track each department and be able to see how much or what is the performance for every single department within my business. That's where class comes in. So I can classify customer jobs, I can classify inventories depending on whether that inventory has to do with the IT or has to do with construction. That's where class comes in. It helps you be able to track different departments and how they are performing in your reports. Now, in the past, the kind of jobs been handling, they have to do with IT. And now we are taking on a new job, kitchen remodeling, and this falls under construction. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create a class, okay, that we are going to associate kitchen remodeling with. And this class we are going to call it construction. And any other customer job that has to do with construction, we are going to put it in this class. And then the other jobs, we are going to associate them with the IT class. We're going to create another class and call it IT, and we're going to associate all those other previous jobs in the IT class. And then you're going to be able to track at the end of the day how the IT department is doing and how the construction department within our business is doing. So this is kitchen remodeling. So what we need to do right now is I'm gonna click here and pick kitchen remodeling. Let's see whether we can see it. Right, it's not here, and it's not here because it is not in our system. It's gonna have to create it and ensure that we put it in our system. So go to new, And this is again, this is a service. I'm gonna call it kitchen remodel. Okay, and how much do we charge? We charge 3,000 per hour. Tax code associated is where is our tax agency? Looking for, all right, let's see, sorry. Oh, this is income, so we go to income. All right, and then I can describe this one as kitchen remodeling labor. You can put the description if you want. If you don't want, you can just leave it. Then I'll click OK. Remodeling. Okay, remember how we activated spelling and grammar check? So here we have this correction. This is how you write remodeling. So I'm going to pick that one. And I'll click replace. When I click replace, it's going to replace this wrongly spelled word with the right word. So click replace. And labor, I can pick this. Again, this one is not wrongly spelled, but it depends on whether you're using American English or British English. So I can click labor here, or if I don't want to change it, I can just tell it to ignore, okay, and retain my spelling. So just ignore. There you go. So the description we enter is normally entered here directly. So if you don't describe your item, you can always come and describe it directly right here. If you do make a description of your item, that description is what will be entered on the description. And so it's gonna take how many hours to do remodeling? 3 days, which is around 30 hours. And that is it. Now we want to give a class to this kind of a job. So I'll click right here and click create a new class. So click add new. We didn't have classes before, but now we want to create a class. So this one we can call the class construction. Okay, so we're basically saying is that job tech has different departments, IT department and construction department. We want to be able to track the income or the performance of each and every department. This is very critical because it helps you be able to figure out or to know whether a given department is worth sustaining. If it's making profit, then of course worth sustaining. If it's not making much profit or if it's making losses, then you can scrap that department out of your business. So being able to classify your operation depending on different departments and track each department, you can make the right decisions by being able to know whether that department is generating profit or whether it's not generating profit, and then you can decide whether you need to scrap it out or whether you need to pump it up depending on how it's performing business. So that's why class is very important. So when I click OK, so now kitchen remodeling comes under the class called construction, and that is how classes work, and that's how you create classes. Now of course this is labor, so labor is not taxable. So when I click here and pick non-taxable, we're not taxing labor. But then again, we want to be able to, let's say we're going to sell to this client some of the inventory part that are associated to this kind of a job. So we want to add some inventory part to this estimates. So when I click down here, okay, and then I'm going to add new let's add an inventory part, and this is going to be let's say, what do we need for kitchen remodeling? We need say we need door frames, right? Okay, and the cost of a single door frame, let's say it's 5,000, and we sell it at 7,000. All right. Associated account right here is cost of goods, a preferred vendor. If we purchase this product, or rather this inventory from a specific vendor, you can click here and pick the vendor from whom you purchase this kind of products from. If you don't want to associate any vendor, you can just leave it blank. You don't have to. Now this is an income account, so click right here and it goes to income. How much do we have at hand? Let's say we have 10. Okay, we have purchasing 10 of them, and this is going to be 50,000 times, rather 5,000 times 10, and that's going to be 50,000. Now notice that this doesn't necessarily mean that these estimates we are not estimating for 10 doors, or rather door frame, just including the number of door frames that we're going to have in our system. And then out of these 10, we can just, assuming our job would need 3 doors, then you're going to indicate that for this kind of estimate and this kind of a job, this client would need 3 doors. So this doesn't necessarily mean that we are estimating or creating estimate for 10 door frames. No, basically means this is what you have in the system, which will be available for sale. All right, so that's it. You click OK, and it's entered there. Now here we can indicate the number of door frames this client needs for kitchen remodeling. Let's say 3 doors. A single door costs 7,000, so that's gonna be 21. Now this is a product, or rather this is an inventory part, so it's taxable. We make sure that we have taxes. We pick a taxable cell, and that is it. So you get tax charged and the total cost of that job, and now we have our estimate ready. So that is how you use class. Okay, so now if I click save and close, you will not see the message here that was telling us that you haven't created a class for that estimate. So I'll click save and close. All right, let's see. Oh sure, you get this message because we haven't assigned class to this inventory here. This is the door frame, still falls under construction. So I'm going to click cancel right here, and I'm going to associate this one with this class construction, and then you click save and close. You don't expect to see that message. All right, labor. Now to avoid the system from bringing up this message every time, I'll tell it ignore all. Okay, there you go. And that is how you create estimate and you include class. Okay, like I mentioned, classes are very important. They help you track different departments and to be able to know how those departments are performing. Now lastly, let's go back to estimate, and I want to point out something before we wrap up on this lesson, and that is something that we call markup. Now just a minute. All right, sorry for that. Now I want to explain something, and that is what you call a markup. When we handled estimate, I pointed out that you can override. Let me just show you. If I pick let's say let's pick remodeling. Let's pick a client like all right, just a minute. I want to let's pick John. All right, and for John, let's assume we're doing again kitchen remodeling for John. So since John is not assigned kitchen remodeling, I'm gonna enter columns, and then I'll press enter. All right, let's see for blank. Okay, just a minute. All right, let's enter a new customer. Let's enter a new customer. I want to show you what markup is and how it works. First of all, let's pick Mike. Columns, enter. Okay, and let's enter a new job. Let's say for Mike, let's say we are installing. Want to assign him a new job. Let's say we're doing CCTV installation for this customer also. CCTV camera, CCTV camera installation. Okay, see CCTV just pick CCTV installation. All right, there you go, and then press enter. It's not okay. Let's cancel. Let's include something totally new that is not in the system, and let's call this one doorbell installation. Okay, we do install doorbells, and so we are doing this, or we are offering that job, or we're offering that service to this customer, doorbell installation. So I'm going to press enter. It's a new job, or rather it's a new job associated with this customer, so we click quick add, and then it's added there. So now we come down here. Don't lose track. I want to show you how to use markup. So you come down here, click an item there, and we cannot see doorbell installation here since it's a new job. So we go to new, and then this is a service, so we enter doorbell installation. Because it's a service, it doesn't have cost, so it basically rate, and we charge, let's say 35,000 per hour. The associated account is income. That is it. So you click OK, and there you are. Now we did describe it, so this is let's make a description. Doorbell installation labor, bell installation, labor, doorbell installation labor. So that is it. Now when you look at this template, it's retail estimate template. It doesn't show anywhere for markup. Let's try a different estimate. Let's see whether we can see markup, custom estimate, and now you can see markup. Now what is markup? Now for any given business, you have different types of customers. You can have wholesale customers, you can have retail customers, you can have those loyal customers, and sometimes you want to accord these customers different prices. Like your most loyal customer, you may want to give them a much more fair price or a much more favorable price compared to those customers who buy from you once, or who buy from you once in a while. For a wholesale customer, you want to give them a price that allows them to go and resell those products and make money. So for these different customers, you want to give them different prices, and this is what you call setting price levels. I'm going to show you how to do that in another lesson, but for now I want to explain markup. So these customers have different prices, and so markup allows you to accord difference in prices for different customers, so that if you sell into a wholesale a given product, you can pick that product and sell it at a lower price that allows that customer to go and sell again. If you're selling to a direct consumer, the price might be slightly high, so there are different markups at your prices, okay, or different levels at your prices. Those are what you're calling markup. Now let me show you how this one works. We are doing door installation, we are charging for labor, and we charge 3,500 per hour. Let's say this job takes 10 hours. All right, it's gonna have to charge this a customer 35,000. We want to change the markup here, and we want to create a markup of, let's say, 20%. Right, 20%. If I click right here, what you notice is this 20% is going to increase this cost by 20%. That's why the cost is shooting from 35,000 to 42. Okay, if I remove this markup, the cost will drop back to its original price. So when you create an estimate, you can write there and then include your markup. Let's say I want to do this job at a markup of, let's say, 30%. Okay, so this is the standard rates, but I want to increase my markup to 30%. So the moment you click right in here, it will recalculate, and then I'm going to make this, sorry, you have to enter the percentage, so it's 30%. 30%. So to recalculate, and this is how much this service is going to cost. So I have increased my markup. Okay, so that's what markup is, and that's how you can use it. Remember, rather than use markup, I can actually come here and notice that markup will work with templates like custom templates, but when you go to retail estimate, the markup column is not there. So if you want to have to use the markup, then you'll have to pick a template here that shows markup, like custom template. It will show a markup. If you pick a proposal, it will show the markup. If you pick quote, it doesn't show the markup. So you notice that custom estimates or proposals, it assumes that you're providing a service and it allows you to change your markup. So whatever I'm using a retail estimate, I don't have a place for markup. What do? And I want to change this price. You can always change the price here. I showed you how to do that. You can override the current charges right here, and then it's going to change the price here. So you can use custom estimates and change the markup directly here, or if you're using a template like retail that doesn't have a markup, then you can adjust that price here. So it depends on which template you're using. So in our case, we're just using a custom estimate, and this is where you change your markup and it will affect the price here. Now you might have a question. When I send this estimate, would it show the customer the markup? No, QuickBooks will not show the markup. It will not even show this item here when you print these estimates or this quotation. It doesn't show the markup and it doesn't show your item here. So you're secure. Your customer are not going to see your markup and they're not going to see this item here. Let's see whether that's true. I'm going to come to print preview, and we're going to ignore all, and you're prompted to save this one before you preview. So let's say yes, but before we do that, let's assign this one a class. Now this is IT related job, so you're going to have to create another class now for all our IT jobs, and we're going to associate all our IT jobs with this class. So I'm going to click here, I'll go right here, and I'll create a new class, and I'll call it IT services. All right, and any IT service related job, I'm going to associate it with this class. So click OK. So there we are, we've associated our job. It's a very specific class. So now let's print preview. We want to see whether it's showing the markup. Let me change the width of this column so we can see our markup very clear. It's 30%. We want to print preview and see whether it actually shows this markup and whether it actually shows this item. I mentioned before that it doesn't, QuickBooks does not show you markup and it doesn't show you item, just show the description and the rest of the information excluding the markup and the item. Let's see whether that's true. So when I click print preview, I will save the new changes. I will ignore all, and here you are. Now what do you notice? Let me zoom. All right, so what you notice here is it will show your address, estimate, the date it was created, it's estimate number 10, the customer address, and then it doesn't show the item, it just shows doorbell installation labor. The next line here, like I mentioned, it's always left for indicating the sales tax. So sales tax, quantity it's 10, rate it's 45.50, okay, times 10 hours, and then you get this 45,500. It's not showing the markup. 30% is not shown, and it does not show the item. Now you also notice that this is labor but it's indicating there's a tax of 16%, which shouldn't be the case. So you'll have to close this one. Let's go there and do away with the tax because this is labor. So we pick none. Let's preview again. And now here we are. So what you notice is sales tax, it's 16%, but it's zero. It's not taxable. So there are no taxes. It doesn't show the item. It doesn't show your markup. So don't be worried that when you indicate your markup on the estimate, it will be indicated. The customer will be able to see the markup. No, they'll not be able to see the markup. QuickBooks will hide that markup. So this is your estimates ready for print. So let's close. And now we can save and close. Or we can add any other job in this estimate or any other inventory part that is associated with this job, but assuming that the client bought all the required components and material for this job from somewhere else, not from us, then all we need to do is go and do the job. So basically we are creating estimate for the labor, and then you click save and close. You have changed transaction. Do you want to record? Of course, yes. And ignore all, and there you go. So that is how you work with estimates. You can use different templates for your estimates depending on whether you are estimating for a given job or for a given product, depending on whether you want to use the markup or whether you want to just override the original cost of a given job. That is also how you create class. You can always create class and categorize all your jobs with relation to different departments and what to do, so you can track every department and know which one is making profit and which one is not making profit. Okay, so make sure you get good at that. What I want you to do at this point is I want you to create 3 estimates, and in those 3 estimates I want you to learn how to use a class. You go to classify your services into different classes. It doesn't have to be IT and construction. You can choose your own class depending on what service or product you include in that estimate. So I want you to learn how to use class, create estimate, use class, create estimate, practice using markup, create estimate, and try different templates. Make sure you get good at it. Create estimate and try using the overwrite technique, whereby you can give a favorable price for a given client without necessarily changing the original price. Okay, I've shown you how to do that. I want you to practice. Do 3 more estimates. Try working with the classes, overriding a given standard rates, using markup, and try different templates, and make sure you get good at it. And in the next lesson, we're going to move forward, clear up with invoices, and then from there we're going to learn how to receive payment from all the invoices that you have created. Until then, get good at creating estimates.